Jack, I'm sure you've heard about the comments from Graham Matthew this morning saying that they've got a contingency planning for when you leave. You've no plans to leave at the moment, have you?
No, I wasn't aware of those comments, Brian. No, not planning to go anywhere soon. So, no, that's it. Look, if Graham's saying that, he's just doing the job properly. But certainly from my point of view, very much enjoying the job and yeah, very happy where I'm at the moment.
In fairness, he was reacting, I think, to comments, suggestions linking you with a move to Celtic. What does it mean to you to be linked with other, let's be fair, bigger jobs than the one that you're in at the moment? Although this is a massive job, you're in Hibernian just now.
No, I mean, I think, Brian, with that, I don't think you'd be surprised to say that I wouldn't comment that at all, because somebody's in that job. It's a job that is one of the biggest jobs in British football. So it's not for me. It's about my concentration on doing the job here as well as I can. I do feel as if certainly since the summer in particular when we came back, it's felt like a really good fit. I really enjoy the club and the progress we've made so far, and it's just about trying to push us as hard as I can and as far as we can. It's
an indication, though, Jack, that you're doing the job well. That helps when you are linked with jobs. Like, I
mean, I think I've always taken. I've said that if you go back through loads of interviews I've done in the past, this is a very obvious thing to say about this being my profession, but it is. Football management is my chosen line of work, and it's something that I want to be the best I can be every single day and try and keep getting better at it. And I found myself in the space of 3 years or 2 years really, because 2016 I was still managing Alloa and 2018 I was managing Sunderland, so it was quite a dramatic change in a short period of time, and I had to cram a lot of learning into that couple of years. And I felt as if I did, and I feel as if I'm still doing that. And it's about, as I said, I don't think that hopefully is ever going to end for me. I just want to be as good as I can be at this job. I very much enjoy it. I think when people get an insight in it, it can be a lot different to people's expectations of it. But it's certainly one that, as I said, I just continually try and want to be the best I can be in it. And I'm fortunate to do something that I enjoy very much as well.
Jack, you obviously say that you've moved about a bit. You're in your fourth club. Is there a part of you that quite relishes the chance to put down some solid roots and stay at one club for quite a while and see what you can build with that?
I think it's always attractive. I think that it isn't that often now, and isn't it that often in football there is time afforded to managers for a variety of reasons, not just the negative reasons, because I probably got opportunities to move quickly through teams doing well, and that can happen as well. So I think the clamour for change or the turnover of managers and coaches is far greater than it has been in the past. So that there's a factor in it. But I feel, I'm happy at the moment, and that's a big thing, and not just in your professional life, but in your personal life as well. So, and I do feel as if I think with the kind of ownership here as well, I've got a good relationship with Ron, and I think he has plans for the club, and where hopefully I can try and push us on the playing side, feel as if they're in alignment. So you can never say for certain, because it's such an unpredictable profession that I work in as well. But certainly at the moment, there's a lot of contentment to where I'm at, both professionally and personally.
Jack, can I go back? It's been another interesting week in Scottish football, and yesterday the funding from Scottish Government was announced. Premiership clubs would be given loans, Championship, League 1 and 2 clubs would be given grants. First of all, do you welcome any money at the moment coming into the game, and what's your thoughts on the difference between loans and grants for various clubs?
I think to begin with, I think any assistance that can be provided throughout the football pyramid is welcome. I think, like a lot of aspects of life, we won't know the negative or the damage that's been done to some industries perhaps for another 6 to 12 to 18 months in terms of the last 9 or 10 months. So it's difficult sometimes to say with certainty how that'll pan out, but undoubtedly I think there are clubs that will find the future difficult if they don't have assistance. So I think it's welcome in that respect. In terms of the difference between a grant and a loan, then I think everybody would prefer a grant, wouldn't they? No matter what line of work you work in. Yeah. But I know there'll be an infinite amount of money that can be distributed. How favourable the loans are or how attractive they are. My understanding is, I think even in terms of commercial interest rates, I think that they're levied it as well. So I don't know. As I said, I think that what I do know is from our own club's point of view, I think we've managed to navigate the last 10 months pretty well. In terms of keeping the club on a stable footing, and that's testament, I think, to the work that has been done at the club previously and the continued work, obviously, Leanne and senior management, and then the support of the owner as well. So any assistance, I think, will benefit any of the clubs, whether or not they're in more danger than others.
Can you understand why there may be people doubting why it would be wise to give grants and then clubs go and spend it on players? And I mean, I'm talking about transfer fees rather than just keeping the club going on a day-to-day basis.
I suppose it depends on what people believe keeps football clubs going. I think there is the aspect of it. You need certain core staff to work at a club. But the nature of our business is that you need to bring good players to your club to make the club successful. So I think you could always put forward arguments and counter arguments to what the money should be spent on football clubs. And I think that's not just, I think that's the current argument about receiving grants or loans and what you do with it. But I'm sure there's been loads of times in the past you could argue the case that when we've had lucrative television deals or favourable loans from banks, that's maybe happened in the past in the Scottish Premiership. What should those clubs have spent their money on? Should they have got into debt? I think there's loads of businesses operating credit throughout the world, and those industries do it to speculate, to try and be successful. So it's easy to stand from afar and say that the money should only be certain things, but that's without having a real grasp of what enables the club or the business to be successful in the long term.
Back to the football. Win tomorrow, you go second in the league. At the start of the season, would you have expected in December to be there?
No, I mean, I think it's a terrific place to find yourself in, albeit if we do win it, it will only be potentially for 24 hours. But I think that I've spoke often enough about setting fairly lofty ambitions for the players this season, but equally ones that we genuinely still felt were achievable. And to date, they're working really hard and have done their utmost to try and achieve them or put themselves in a position to achieve them. So it's a massive incentive for us, and it continues to put us in a good place. We go into this busy period, not just December, but January is a month could potentially be very busy for us as well. So, but it's nice to be challenging the players and staff to go into this period knowing that there is so much potential success for us if we can come through this period still in a good position. So it's a great, it's a nice feeling to go into the game tomorrow knowing that if we win, we find ourselves in that position in the league.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Brian.
Jack, how much did last week's win and the magnitude of the result against a team so close to you in the table do for everyone?
Well, first of all, it made me look stupid because I said that nobody really wins with 3 goals in the Scottish Premiership. So,
never noticed it.
I think what it does is that I sometimes look at how my players celebrate goals or they celebrate victories. I just think that going to a really difficult venue and winning with that scoreline just grows the belief. I spoke about it post-match about them being a pretty humble group of players. If you strip some of them back individually, you look at, for example, Louis Stevenson, most decorated player in the club's history, and yet one of the most humble players we've come across. And we're a bit like that as a squad. And it's just encouraging them to believe in themselves and look at this season. I think 22 games, competitively, we've only lost 4, which is very, very good. But I don't think they sometimes, back themselves enough in terms of done that. So what Saturday does is, without me saying anything, makes them believe more and increases that confidence. And that, as I said, is only a good thing for me and for the players.
And did it help that you used so much of your squad and players that might not have had as many opportunities and they made an impression as well? Yeah,
it was good. It's good for me that, one, I think we've got enough quality within the squad to do that, and then testament to those players that have been a bit frustrated. They're been and the staff that look after them because they've been ready to play. And we took, although we're in a really busy month, we took on a couple of reserve games this month that are obviously not easy to sometimes facilitate in the current circumstances with that reasoning behind it, or that thought process behind it, that we would get these players ready to go. And so Jay Wright and Melka, for example, played in the reserve game midweek, but it meant that they were ready to go on Saturday. And we'll need that squad over the coming 4 to 8 weeks, this busy schedule we've got. But yeah, I was really pleased that those players that I mentioned in particular came in and made a contribution to us winning the game.
Do you think you'll be doing much business at all next month, and how far along are you with that process?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will. I think we'll be active to some extent. Naturally, when we've performed how we have this season, I'm fairly content with the group and with the players. There are probably 1 to 2 areas that we could do a little bit more depth, and we've had fairly in-depth conversations about that, and we've got as much of a plan in place to move that forward. It will depend a little bit on what moves out as well, but I wouldn't anticipate us being overly busy, but equally I would still expect us to do something that will keep our squad fresh and hopefully put the squad in the best possible place for the remainder of the season.
Thanks.
Jack,
Thanks.
Just looking ahead to the weekend, Hamilton Academical, they had a good win last night. What do you expect on Saturday?
Well, I think the one thing that they've had for a number of seasons is that can never be in question is their character and the response to a difficult afternoon at Ibrox, and then I think the Stranraer game in the Betfred Cup was in the aftermath of that, and since then, my understanding from watching games is they played well at Tannadice, obviously drew Aberdeen and then beat Kilmarnock, so the response to that character-wise has been excellent. I expect the game to be competitive against a team that will be in a much better frame of mind than it would have been a few weeks ago as well. So even the home game against them was difficult, although we played well in the evening, it became a difficult game for us as well. So under no illusions to the challenge the match offers us. It's another away fixture, but equally for us one that probably from what I spoke about earlier on, we go in a good frame of mind, and also our away form this season's been excellent as well.
You likely to keep the winning team from Motherwell last week, or any knocks, anything like that midweek?
Is this give me your team question again?
Just about.
No, we're in terms of squad wise, we'll be without Jamie Murphy. Came off obviously with hamstring injury last week, so he'll be unavailable. Kel McGuinness comes back into the squad, which is good. And other than that, Alex Goggett still miss out along with Sean Mackey and Scott Allen. So Jamie Murphy out and Kel McGuinness in is the only changes from last week in terms of squad wise.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Jack, what is it that's sort of been working for you on the road this season? I think you're only 1 point away from sort of having the best away record in the entire Premiership this season.
I think what we have within our team makes us a good counter-attack side. I think we're good at that. I think in games, even when at home games, if we go ahead in the game, it usually helps us as well. In away fixtures, there's always an onus on the home team. Sorry, we're away, there's an onus on the home team usually to try and set the tempo of the game, and at times I think that helps us. I think last week was another example of it. I think us being ahead in the game in the second half then allowed us to play that way in the last 30 minutes of the match as well. So we know that we've got strength in that area. Can't be the only way we can play, because you're not always going to be able to do that. There's times when you have to set the tempo of the game, but I think certainly it's been a reason for us being successful. I think we've created a lot of opportunities on the road and taken a lot of them as well.
Just on January as well, it was reported there, I don't know if it was you personally that was at them, but taking part in virtual meetings with some of Europe's big clubs about January targets and recruitment and things like that. Have you had any feedback from that?
No, Graham Matthew participated in that, and it's a fairly regular event, and it allows networking to happen. It usually happens in person, and I think it's described as almost football transfers equivalent to speed dating, I think, in terms of how much it allows people to interact with each other in a fairly quick period of time. So Graham's probably got better banter than me, so he might be more successful in terms of securing any sort of dates within it. But I know he's participated in it this week, and I think there's always a potential benefit to us as a club. I think in the past the clubs maybe unearthed to us, I hadn't heard of previous to that, but the recruitment department here is fairly robust, so it's just another way of making sure that we cover as many bases as we can.
So there's nobody lined up for a second round of drinks for that yet, no?
Not that I know of, but Graham maybe keeps that close to his chest and doesn't tell me.